Hi, my name is Eric Butler, and I'm making this video for an assignment for my EGS 301 class at the University of Miami. I'm 40, I live in Columbus, and we were asked to solve a complex problem. So I was cleaning out my van, and I was thinking about what I was going to do for my complex problem. And I have an 8-year-old, so as I was removing all the detritus that brings into one's life, there was lots of little plastic trash that I found myself throwing away. And I thought, I really should recycle this. Um, and that kind of got me thinking, right? Really, most of the plastic I have ever used is still out there somewhere. I remember when I was 10, my parents took us to the beach in Florida, Cocoa Beach, and my dad bought me a boogie board, big foam boogie board, and my mom got me a lemonade in this really cool plastic collectible cup. And we had it for a few years. I have no idea where that went, but it's out there somewhere, right? Um, all of the plastic I have ever used is out there somewhere. Um, and before 2018, America would take our plastic trash recycling, and we would put a lot of it on shipping containers and send it to China. They were bringing over consumer goods, and those empty ships would take the plastic detritus there. And they stopped taking it. And ever since then, we've been trying to figure out what to do with it. Um, you know, it doesn't go away, right? So plastic is forever, but it breaks down into microplastic. I think we've all heard about this. There used to be an urban legend that the average person ate, 8, 6, 5, whatever spiders a year. And I heard what I thought was an urban legend about plastic that said the average person eats about a credit card's worth of plastic a month. So that was one of the starting places for this project. And it turns out the average person eats about 5 grams of plastic a week, according to the World Wildlife Foundation. And that's a credit card a week, not a credit card a month. So it's worse than I thought. Um, and so microplastic is tiny plastic, right? So you make something, and through various ways it gets degraded, whether that's sun sitting in a landfill, some sort of solvent, or even when you wash polyester clothes, you make microplastic. When put your fork inside a plastic bowl, that little scratch you made, that is a microplastic that you've just created. We are using more plastic than ever for more things than ever. Plastic solves a lot of problems, right? It's inexpensive, it's lightweight, it's easy to work with in a lot of ways. So it's a big issue to, what do we do, right? The biggest use of plastic is consumer packaging, right? Things you're eating, things you're touching, um, and all that is creating microplastics. And so as you try to solve this problem, right, you think about recycling. That has really been sold to us: reduce, reuse, recycle, and there's the numbers in the bottom of the plastic containers, but plastic doesn't get recycled. About 9% of plastic globally is recycled. Most metal is recycled, right? 75% of aluminum, but it's kind of a false solution because recycling doesn't take care of microplastics. It still creates them. They are forever, so reusing that plastic isn't going to solve the problem. And most plastic ends up discarded. But even the stuff we're using is still shedding microplastic, right? You're sitting in the stadium seat. Um, it's everywhere, right? You're being exposed to it, kind of no matter what choices you're making personally. Um, I think one of the biggest problems is ending up in our food. So the Jamuna River in Bangladesh, heavily populated, a lot of commerce, a lot of traffic. People are using that river for every part of their economic and personal lives. And the plastic is getting in the food chain, and the people are eating the plastic. Um, what about humans? So health concerns are bad, and they're getting worse. When people have done research into this, it has been found that um, more studying needs to be done, but the leading hypothesis is that microplastics and other forever chemicals cause inflammation, and because they don't go anywhere, then that inflammation is causing cancer. Also, it's causing a lot of hormonal problems in young people because of the way that our bodies and the receptors in our bodies are dealing with that plastic. And this is something, what could be done. We could be using alternatives, right? What about bioplastics and biopolymers? Some of those are good, right? We have used either sucrose or corn derived or cellulose or corn derived things, and those do work, but it's a marketing gimmick in a lot of ways. So you really have to know what you're looking at and looking at the labels, and they're more expensive. I wanted to look at something where regulation can work, right? So asbestos used to be used in America everywhere. It was used for insulation, and businesses knew it was bad for the people installing it. Things that have come out, they knew that they were sending people to terrible health outcomes. And it's actually still being used worldwide. Um, in India and in China, they still use asbestos. So regulation can work. We don't build with asbestos in America anymore. But there's no one solution. And so I think that this problem in particular becomes very multidisciplined. So you have to demand change, you have to make change. Look at what you buy, look at what you use. But to some sense, like asbestos, we're going to have to demand regulation. The government is going to have to solve this problem because the free market isn't incentivized to. Plastic is cheap, plastic is easy to work with. People understand how to do it. So, as a consumer, is it carry a metal water bottle? Yeah, that's something you can do. Is it not use a straw? That's something you can do. But it's also voting with your pocketbook, supporting businesses that support not using single use plastics, and talking to your legislators. So, thank you for listening to me talk about something that's really not an easy problem. People love plastic, it's everywhere. So, you have to really think about what you're going to do incrementally to solve this problem because it won't be done by one person all at once. And thank you very much.